Packers good news screams louder than the bad news they receive in regards to their current money situation. I'm going to break that down for you guys in this video. If you are new to the channel, my name is Jason. I talk everything Packers. Please hit that subscribe button if you like the content. Okay, so let's get into it. The Packers, they the second most dead money against the salary cap in the entire NFL, just ahead of the Minnesota Vikings rank last, worst in the league in regards to carrying the most dead money against the salary cap. Packers are second. The Lions actually rank in the top 10. So that's three NFC North teams that are carrying all this dead money. So what players are contributing to the Packers' dead money? Okay, so let's go over that. Okay, so just to gloss over the players that are carrying all this dead money, David Bakhtiari at $19.1 million. That's not all bad, because this is a guy that we had to cut. This is a guy that we saved $20 million by cutting. A guy that would probably not be playing any games this season. If he did, it would be one or two games, and then we would be left carrying an extra $20 million if we were to have kept on to David Bakhtiari. So the Packers make the right move in getting rid of him. Aaron Jones is going to account for $12.4 million. That is the Minnesota Vikings. So when we are playing against the Vikings and Aaron Jones, we are going to be paying that dude $12.4 million. But again, not all bad in the long scheme of things, because they get a guy like Josh Jacobs, a guy who's younger, a guy that I think is going to do big things on the Packers. So the Packers, I think, do the right thing in letting Aaron Jones go, because they couldn't come to an agreement contractually there. So I think Brian Gutekunst does the right thing. Darnell Savage, $5.5 million with the Jaguars. That is going to what he's accounting for in the Packers books. Rasul Douglas is carrying $5.1 million as a Buffalo Bill. And then Devondre Campbell, 3.66 this year as a San Francisco 49er, and then $8 million next season. But that is a guy that started creating controversy in the locker rooms last year. A guy who started sitting out some games because he said he was playing through injuries and creating all this drama. So that is a guy that I am happy to say that he is not a Packer, and now he is a San Francisco 49er. And then you got Yosh Nijman at $2.5 million with the Panthers. That is what he is going to account for on the Packers books this season. So all of those numbers put together with a few extras accumulates for over $50 million in dead cap money for the Packers. So when I started looking at, just the rosters and current guys that are on the books, I was like, okay, who's the worst contract the Packers have out there? And when you start talking about those, big contracts for the Packers, you look at the top there, you got Kenny Clark with a cap hit of $27.49 million. 24 of that in dead cap overall, the duration of his contract there. So Kenny Clark, though, that dude is a Pro Bowl type player. This is a guy who had 7.5 sacks last season. This dude is not slowing down. He's on a contract year. He's going to be under Jeff Hafley's system. I think this is going to only benefit Kenny Clark. I think he's going to have a monster year. And then second on the list, carrying the most money for the Packers, is Jair Alexander. If you didn't remember, they signed him to a 4-year, $84 million extension. So this dude is carrying pretty much an annual value of $21 million. He had a $30 million signing bonus, and $30 million of that is guaranteed. And Jair Alexander, this guy is a two-time second team All-Pro in 2020 and 2022, and then a two-time Pro Bowl player in 2020 and 2022. Okay, so he's a year removed from being a Pro Bowl All-Pro type of player. Last year, he really struggled. Last year, he missed 9 games for the Packers, one of those being a suspension. So you can make the argument that Jair Alexander is a bad contract. But then again, is it? Because when he's healthy, when his head is on straight, he is one of the best corners in the league. So I don't think that is, honestly. So when you start looking at, some of the big contracts for the Packers, you can make the argument that Jair Alexander is that guy. Jair Alexander is the worst contract on the Packers, but is it a bad contract? I don't think it is. I really honestly don't think it is, because he is just 1 year removed from being a uh, uh, an all-pro type of corner. He's a lockdown corner, and we've already seen the excitement. We've heard the excitement coming out of him playing alongside Xavier McKinney. He's got to be pumped about that, and playing with a new defensive coordinator in Jeff Hafley, a guy that is going to only be an upgrade from Joe Barry. Then you look at a guy like Jenkins. Jenkins is one of the best offensive linemen the Packers have. Sure, we're paying him a lot of money, but he's worth it. I mean, he's protecting one of, the biggest asset, the Packers have in Jordan Love. So I don't think that is a bad signing for the Packers. That's not a bad contract. And then you got Preston Smith. The only knock on that dude is the fact that he's 32 years old, but Preston Smith coming off of an 8-sack year, which is pretty much his average. That is not a bad contract either. I mean, you can make the argument it's a bad contract because of his age only, but this is a guy that has proved that he is a workhorse. He's always out there. He's reliable. And you can't really put a price tag sometimes on that value, especially in the current NFL or current sports situation where guys miss games because, they're trying to battle through maybe some softer injury issues, because, they're protecting their asset out there. So they sit players for longer than probably what they need to be sat for. So you can make the argument. Then you got Rashawn Gary. I mean, Rashawn Gary's not too much further down that list, and he's coming off of a 9-sack season, and that is coming off of a big injury. Rashawn Gary is not a bad contract. So really, there is no bad contracts for the Packers, right? So that is the good news. The good news is that, yes, amidst the $50 million plus in dead cap space for the Packers, they're not carrying any bad contracts right now. I really don't think so. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. I mean, is Jair Alexander that bad contract for the Packers? An $84 million contract that, of course, if you're just solely looking at last season, it was a disappointment to say the least, because Jair Alexander, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know when he was coming back. We didn't know the severity of his shoulder injury, any of that type of stuff. He had a disappointing season last year, but I think at the end he kind of woke up, and he started to play with a little bit of edge and a chip on his shoulder coming back from that suspension. I think he knows that he needs to be out there. I think he knows that he needs to be present, and live up to that contract. So, in my opinion, that is the only argument that you can make for a bad contract, but I don't think it is a bad contract. Leave your comments. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, go Pack Go.